Okay, welcome my friends. This performance has begun with a little ritual, but more or less this is not about performance. It's about a concept. So, a little fire in the fire pot. वो ठंडा हो गया क्या? There's a traditional fire pot in Kashmir which everybody has to use during the winter time. Some families mostly it is something which one has to use during the winter time. And to enter into something very auspicious, we use this practice in Kashmir, irrespective of which religion you are. This is it. Everybody does it before marriage or any other important function for happiness. This is done. So, in that sense, I welcome you something which is also about goodness of life. We just want to lift our beings from something which has gone down because of some crisis here or there, political or otherwise. So I have come here to just talk about that. And definitely this is because the way we made an entry in the gate, this performance is about that. But Kashmir, when I use Kashmir, so it can go anywhere. But let's say it's only about Kashmir, even if it is about something else also. It can be about some other issues, like a Palestine issue or some other issues which are conflict zones, which are not resolved politically. So, but since it's very closer to us, we are in India, and India has a problem with a particular territory in Kashmir. So there is a direct reference to what this proposal was about. So I was also at many points of time I was working with the idea of having a collective what's happening during the last 25 years in Kashmir. What are the alternative voices or means of protest which have simmered down in different kind of expressions? Internet was one. There are some poets who are writing in their own language, and there are some essayists, some novelists are there from different communities, and very huge. Basically, there's a huge material available for us to understand what was happening on ground. But before that also, there was a lot of discussions about what Kashmir is. But during the last phase, I think after 1990, it has now come out in the open. But meanwhile, what happens? Some things actually disappear. While we talk about while we highlight some things which are very imperative in our understanding of a place or the people, they go down. So, gun culture in Kashmir got a kind of a prominence. So, all over the world, it was seen that it is the gun culture versus the Indian occupational forces, that's the army. But I have been constantly contesting this fact that this is not the only two heads which are fighting each other. It's not the gun versus the gun. It's basically a lot of things are happening on ground. So everybody is not having a gun in the hand and saying something. So it is whether it is from Indian side or from Kashmir side, there are a lot of people who want to say something.
Why are you differentiating Indian side or Kashmir side?
That's why I'm coming. It's a political thing. So you must be knowing that there is no border line between Pakistan side of Kashmir and Indian side. called LOC, line of actual control. Even the dotted line is not also complete. It's somewhere where it's actually connection is there. There is no LOC. It's basically very open. So it is a conflict, and India and Pakistan are party to that. But we're not going into that. That's what I'm saying. That's the problem here. The problem here is that we're constantly crystallizing the Kashmir issue into that political narrative, which is very much known. Everybody knows what Kashmir is and what's not. So I gave a proposal to the Kochi and that a title found here. So this, if you, I don't need to show the actual image of the fountain from Mughal Garden. Everybody is seeing the fountain is like this, and some water is pushed from below, and the water gushes out. So I just made a poster kind of thing from that concept, that the fountain always comes with enough space at the top. So there's basically a lot of space, what is happening through the but something is coming out. So fountain, I think directional photographs are there. I don't need to show you. So now this enough space at the top might give us an opportunity for us to include many more voices than other ones. So that's why the title fountain was, it had a reference to Dushan's fountain, but I was directly using the fountain reference. The proposal which is here, just one page proposal, it was talking about that actually make a fountain, and metaphorically different kind of voices will come out and they will accumulate around that fountain. Now what were the voices? What was my intent? My intent was only that it was not about me, basically. It was about, that's what is the concept. It was about the voices or the expressions which are happening on ground. So those voices could have accumulated in any other form, video or installation or music or performances or text readings or novel readings. It could have kind of created a house for the understanding of Kashmir, which roughly I was titling out. That was the basically initial idea. One of the, for example, one of the legs of that would have been Nikhil's that performance at the Lal Show. It would have been one of the videos possibility, I'd say, which you have already seen that. So I don't need to show. One of the possibilities in that concept was that I actually go and see what was happening in the ground, who are doing, not only insiders, from outsiders. So that's Nikhil is also an outsider who went there, did something, and went back. But there are people still on the ground who are doing something. So to create a new understanding of Kashmir. Now that is definitely political, because most of the voices which have come out from people's writings or through different means, even music, even experimental music also. These voices have come because a lot of violence has happened from both ends. Militants also done violence, army has done tremendous violence, and so there's a lot of pain on ground. That could have been understood in a context why a historical reference is undermined by powerful nation called India. And Pakistan has its own axe to grind. They have their own ways to understand that we want to grab Kashmir, and India is already holding part of it. But I'm saying, since we cannot do anything, we cannot deconstruct that occupational force, whether it's India or Pakistan, we can't do anything between the nations, and there are big powers to decide that. But on ground, we, people from anywhere, can think about what is happening at lower ground. What are the small nuances? What is the dynamics at that grassroots level expression? That was actually, and definitely, art was one of that, or practices, performance practices. But even the folk art, or the traditional theatre, which is called barn theatre, could have become part of that installation kind of thing, which was for the understanding question. But somehow it was not viewed seriously, and they didn't like the idea. So, but I thought it was the right time to share this idea. That's why I thought of to directly come with this idea. What was my idea of intervention? Why I am doing it? If it was the proposal sent to, let us say, to some Paris or some New Venice, I will not have bothered to reject this proposal in this fashion. But since the rejection has come from an Indian, so I try to make it a twist kind of thing, that it becomes political. But why? There is some sort of a suspicion whenever we want to talk about Kashmir. So it actually unsettles, and I'm not criticizing anybody here, because of course the inclusion of this kind of proposal would have unsettled many people around. So there is no regret about that. But at the same time, I am here to talk about that. So I have randomly picked two or three slides.